glass breaks as we come back in, as we welcome to the show Austin Price, Volquest.com. He joins us every week thanks to Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. Austin, thank you for the time as always. You hit it a couple weeks ago on the show. You said, I'll go over half the number for Tennessee to pick up a commit. They'll get one before the end of February. Don't think you ever wavered, by the way, over the last 2 weeks. Tell us about the newest commit for Tennessee picking the Vols over the weekend.
You know, I normally do a really good job of not riding the wave and recruiting, but when you do these over-unders, it's hard not to, because it was going to happen, then it was not going to happen, then it happened. So, yeah, I end up getting it right based off of me pivoting back, but, you know, recruiting's so fluid, it changes all the time. But Marcus Gore is a long, athletic corner who really impressed Tennessee's staff last year at camp, Josh. And, you know, Willie Martinez really kind of, you know, pinpointed him and was like, you know, I really want to get Marcus Gore. He started working Marcus really, really hard. And, you know, Marcus was close to pulling the trigger back in, like, November, December, and then kind of decided to wait and take another visit too, and then, you know, decided to get this thing done this past weekend. And, you know, I think it's a nice gift for Tennessee as they continue to build momentum in state, third in-state commit, along with, a couple of really good guys, and I think Carson Gentle and Caleb Beasley. And, you know, Tennessee's in a good spot with Edmund Spillman, who is Beasley's teammate. They're in a good spot with Boo Carter, who is an MPA, which is a 7-on-7 organization. They're in training organization. They're teammate with Marcus Gore. So, you know, doing a nice job in state in 2024. And really, when you think about it, all of Tennessee's defensive back needs could come from in-state players. They may not have to go outside the state of Tennessee for corners or safeties in 2024.
I mean, I think it's pretty significant that in February, you know, Tennessee is taking the commitment of Marcus Gore. I think that means that he has been that impressive to a guy like Willie Martinez, because, I mean, there's a lot of time between now and the summer when, you know, we see now that players, they have to go to schools during the summer and earn their scholarship offer. They get the offer, but you have to, like, go to the school during the summer and actually be allowed to commit. So for Gore to be able to commit, I think speaks volumes to how much Willie Martinez really wanted him.
Oh, wanted him very badly. Loved him in camp. And, I mean, immediately, you know, worked him out at corner, talked about it right there on the field at camp. Josh Heupel gave him the official offer, and Willie Martinez went to work trying to get Marcus Gore at that point, and has done a really nice job with him. I mean, Marcus has been up to Tennessee several times, whether it be for a junior day, for other camps, for games. And so, you know, very, very impressed kid. And, you know, again, super athletic, super long, exactly what you're looking for in a corner. And will continue to try to polish his game over the next year before he gets to campus.
Austin Price is with us from Volquest.com. He joins us each week thanks to Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. And, Austin, you were talking about in-state recruiting where Tennessee could take advantage this upcoming year. Compare what you hear from in-state prospects talking about Tennessee now or maybe over the last year to 2 years ago when Josh Heupel and his staff were first arriving and you talked to in-state prospects. What difference do you hear in what they say now that they've seen Josh Heupel and many of his coaches on campus for 2 years?
2 years ago, they were all talking about, investigation and bowl bans and all those things that schools were putting in their heads, and just how little momentum Tennessee had coming out of, you know, letting Coach Pruitt go and hiring Coach Heupel, and everybody's kind of taking a wait-and-see approach with all that. 2 years later, there's a lot of momentum. Tennessee's now the, quote, cool school, right? I mean, they're just 11-2. They had the big win over Alabama and Florida and LSU and Clemson in the Orange Bowl, and we're storming the field and tearing down goalposts and taking over LSU Stadium, and they're wearing black jerseys and gray jerseys and orange helmets, no matter whether they lost in that game or not. Like, kids don't see that. They see, oh, that looks cool. So they're the cool school all of a sudden. And so I think that's the biggest thing you hear from not just in-state kids, but out-of-state kids as well, is just, you know, Tennessee's got some juice to it. And, it doesn't mean you're going to, land the top 5 class just because you win some games. That obviously helps. You still have to recruit. You still have to have, the right kind of momentum outside of just winning football games. But, Tennessee and Josh Heupel have done a really nice job, especially in state. And you just feel like that 22 cycle, which had Dallin Hayden and some of those players, Ty Simpson's another one, it was just kind of hard for them to kind of see, hard for them to envision, because Heupel and them had not went to the field yet when all those guys came off the board. And by the time that Heupel and them had won a few games, it got a little bit of momentum in that 21 season, it was just going to be hard to flip any of those kids. If those kids were going through, if that same group was going through the process right now, I think it would be vastly different. But you kind of was what it was in the 21 or 22 class 21 season. Now you've got to take advantage of what you just did with this previous year. And obviously they're doing a nice job. Amari Jefferson, Kamaro Brown, Boo Carter, Ronan O'Connell, Edwin Spillman, all players that are uncommitted but could very likely end up in the 24 class with Tennessee to go along with the 3 you already have committed from Instate. So that right there is, 8 kids potentially. What Tennessee signed last year, a couple, 3. I mean, what was it? Maybe it's a little more now, maybe it's 4 or 5, but it was a smaller number. I think it has a chance to grow, and means it would have grown every year under Heupel. It was a couple in 22, and a little bit more than that in 23, and even more in 24. And that don't even count kids, Josh, that come to camp and all of a sudden, whoa, that kid was really impressive at camp this summer. He don't have much. Boom, all of a sudden he ends up at Tennessee, or so on and so forth.
How would you compare the talent depth in state this year versus last year?
I think it's a deeper, more talented group in 24. Is it the best class we've ever seen? No. I think 2017, 2018, 2022, probably a little deeper. But it's still a really good group. I mean, I think, players like even a guy like Andre Evans at CPA are someone who I could end up seeing at Tennessee in the long term. We didn't mention him a second ago, but he's someone that continues to get better, continues to blossom. That's another secondary guy that could, potentially be in the class. So I mean, like, to me, it's deeper. I wouldn't say the top end talents is good, but it's deeper, and I think it's a broader class. I really like Ronan O'Connell. I think he's a guy that will help Tennessee or some school, on the offensive line. Plays out of Page, plays both defensive line, offensive line, but kind of a mean, nasty kid, really good wrestler, much like Carson Gentle, a guy who, again, has had a lot of success in high school wrestling. And a lot of times that computes to having success in the trenches.
Do you feel like Tennessee could start multiple newcomers in the back end this year? I mean, there's a lot of guys who see an opportunity to play in the secondary. We saw some of the weaknesses of this team last year, but can you actually see more than one newcomer starting in the back end this fall?
Are you saying someone who wasn't on the team is a newcomer?
Correct.
Someone who wasn't on the team?
Correct.
I'm going to have to see that to believe it. I mean, you would have to think Wesley Walker's got a pretty good shot to start at safety. Until they make a move on Jalen McCullough, I'm just going to pencil him in there. I know fans are screaming in their car right now. But that's just kind of where I'm at. Until I see otherwise, I'm just going to pencil him in. And then at the corner, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, like, one would think that, Tennessee is going to start at least one newcomer at corner. But, like, what's Danico Slaughter do? Does he stay at corner? Does he move back to safety? Obviously Tennessee, has brought in some young guys in the secondary. They brought in, transfer, at corner. I think it's very possible Tennessee starts at least one newcomer at corner. As for safety, I just kind of have to see it to believe it. That's kind of just where I'm at with that. I would say, if you said over under 1.5, I'd say under. I'd say one newcomer is then starter in the secondary, and then I do think multiple newcomers play, though.
Austin Price, Volquest.com. Last item, we'll get you out of here. What might be next for fans to pay attention to? I saw that On3's #1 tight end in the 2024 class has a return visit scheduled to Knoxville. Any tidbits to know there, or anything else you would add for fans to know?
Yeah, I just think as I've been saying for the last several weeks and over a month now, I think the month of March and April are much more key than February ever was. Tennessee ends up getting one in February. I think March you'll see another name or two come off the board, and I think Tennessee will continue to work to try to get the right players in here. And a lot of them I think they'll try to get here for spring practice. I think Tennessee's got a junior day March 4th. I think that's great. If you can get them here then, you get them here then. But I think a lot can accomplish by getting them here for practice, letting them see you coach, letting them see how the players react in the room, who's in the room. All that stuff I think matters for kids, especially the ones that are looking at it the right way and not just coming in to get their photos taken and post to Instagram.
The Swain head shake, which I want you to see, Austin, because he has thoughts on that too. Big March and April coming up. Cash that over on the month of February. Austin Price, Volquest.com. You can read more of his work, his colleagues' work, with everything happening with Tennessee football and beyond. And every week, Austin joins us right here on the show thanks to Rick Terry Jewelry Designs, making it unique, making it special, making it just for you. They want to be your jeweler right there at Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. Austin, thank you for the time as always. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.